So, my name is Vivian Olodun. I am a marketing strategist, an entrepreneur, and author. I published my book, Stumbling Through Adulthood, last year. I'm based in Miami, Florida, and the way that I activate my activism is I host a Women in Business conference here in South Florida. We host it once a year where we make up to $15 million available to businesses that are owned and operated by women. So we are very, very adamant about the power of economics and the power of being able to use your voice. We use the money that we raise in our in that event in February to host book fairs for women authors, and we do that in Miami, Atlanta, Las Vegas, California, and Washington, D.C. And as a marketing strategist, one of the things that I spend a lot of energy on working with business owners is helping them find their message and amplifying their message and being able to share it with the maximum amount of people who are going to take action. So it's been very fulfilling to be able to use what I've learned in my business and marketing for 18 years and what we've been doing at the conference for the last 5 years to hold large companies accountable so that they can make continuous donations to our organization and so that we can continue to support those women authors so that they can get their voice out. My mother is from Panama. My father is from Nigeria. I was born in Germany. So my racism is global that I've experienced. And I've also experienced a lot of kind-natured people as well. And the story that I want to share, it's in my book, Stumbling Through Adulthood, and it is page 114, and it's called Latin Lover. Congratulations, you're 7 weeks pregnant. Have you decided how you're going to tell the father? The nurse asked. No, I don't need to. I'm not going to, I quickly responded. This is a tough thing to do alone. Of course, you'll do what you want, but I recommend you tell him, the nurse said. Thanks, I'll take that into consideration. Before moving to Miami, I knew nothing about hurricanes. I was now living through my third one since the first semester in college. Come outside, the eye of the storm is passing, my friends exclaimed. Hurricane Katrina is said to be one of the most devastating natural disasters to hit the U.S. soil in modern history. It's also a great reason to have a hurricane party. I'm coming, I said, running out of the boarded up house into danger. My friends have all lived in Miami for years, and they want me to experience the eye of the storm as a rite of passage. The air is incredible. Everything is still, but the carnage is all around us. Three branches covered the street, debris scattered over every surface, yet the sun was still shining. The rain had just stopped. How long will it stay like this? I asked. Could be a couple of minutes or it could be an hour. It always depends on the size of the storm. Juan grinned as he walked up to our crew clutching a basketball. Juan is 6'2" and caramel skin and the sexiest Dominican accent, sounding like music coming out of his perfectly shaped, luscious lips. He's so handsome and smart. The best part of this storm, besides not having to go to school, was getting to spend it locked up with Juan. I've learned so much about him. His family immigrated from the Dominican Republic to New York when he was a child. He also knows my best friend, Jamie, from high school. They graduated the year together. Juan is the eldest in his family, so his mom doesn't mind him staying with us during the storm. He's so dreamy and older than me, but doesn't go to college like the rest of us. He claims he's training to be a truck driver because school has never been his thing. He'd much rather be living his life and having fun. He had a wonderful sense of humor and always brings the best type of liquor to the party. Dale, I got you. One for you, man. And he says, bouncing the basketball. How long does it take for a black girl to shit? Juan asked. What? I don't know. How long? My best friend Jamie innocently asked, running outside again to grab the basketball. 9 months, man. Juan doubled over in laughter, barely containing himself. Dude, that's awful, Juan. How could you even say that? Tanya gazed towards me. We're all dark, but I'm the darkest of the crew. I guess I'm considered the black girl. That's fucked up, man. Come back inside, Tanya said as she motioned to me and the rest of the girls to return inside the house. The eye is passing. Katrina's gonna get your ass for being such a bendejo, she yelled at Juan. Come on, Tanya, he was joking. Girl, learn to lighten up, Juan said. Get it? Lighten up? The story continues and it goes on, but I wanted to share that story with you because I want to get really clear about how racism is systematic, how it's built into our systems, but how we carry it out every day in our different behaviors, and how you might be put in situations where you're given an opportunity to speak up for those people around you and you can simply choose not to. How we can indulge in different types of jokes and games with each other and really perpetuate problems that escalate. Now, in the story, of course, it talks about the opportunity of later on, I in the story did have an opportunity to make a decision, and Juan was the father of that particular baby. But what does it look like when you're bringing life into the world with someone who you know has no support and has racist identities and racist behaviors? What is the responsibility there when you're bringing a new life into this scenario? And I chose that story for many reasons, and I know that it creates a controversial conversation, and I hope to hear from you all, but also because of the state that I'm in. I'm at this moment in my third trimester, and I am pregnant, and it's something to reflect on. What does it look like in the next generation of people? And I've been watching the younger generation who just yesterday I spent a lot of energy trying to identify people in education, putting their public information out. They're on TikTok talking to their parents and fighting with those older generations about how they have learned these behaviors. And the behaviors in the Hispanic community, when I like to always bring to the attention of people that racism is not regulated to the United States. It was Portugal and the Holy Roman Empire who gave the first okay and decree to go to the African coast and pick up people and turn them into property. And that kind of thinking has been to the benefit of people all around the world. And it's systemic, the way that this thinking goes to something as small as trying to not stand in the sun too long because you don't want to get a tan, to not feeling open and available to have your natural hair out, to dating certain people because you want to have pretty babies. These are all things to take into account, and they're all things that affect us on a daily basis when it comes to racism. So, from my mind and her mind, I want to encourage you all to make it a habit to talk about race with your friends and family, to hold them accountable and to talk to your kids and give them positive reinforcement. I was talking to my husband today about my first time being engaged with racism, and I can remember that it was in the first grade where I went to school in Tennessee, and I was a military brat, and the first time I was engaged with racism was because a little white boy called me the N word, and and my natural reaction was to choke him because I'm I'm the only girl, and we had been watching WWF at the time, and I choked the little boy out and slammed him up against the wall because I was very well aware of what that word meant and what he was trying to do to me and other me. And I can say thankfully that it just so happens that the principal of my school also went to my church. He was a black man. And because of that, and because of then getting to talk to the vice principal, who's a white man, and being able to have a conversation with them at such a young age, I learned that I'm not wrong for holding someone accountable for being upset when I'm mistreated. And 7 years later, I was in an accelerated program in Tennessee, and we were going to a competition. And I can remember that accelerated program for advanced students was delayed for 20 minutes because there was a KKK rally that day. Okay? We had to wait and be courteous to the KKK members because they had a permit and they had the right to the street, so we needed to wait. And what that taught me was that there's so many different ways that we engage with racism. And it's such a powerful thing that one of the other speakers, Sophie, shared that it doesn't hurt my feelings that you call me the N word. It doesn't bother me if you don't want to swim in my pool. It doesn't, those things are not what harm me at this point in my life. Like I said, I run a very successful business. I live in Miami, Florida. I literally live in a penthouse in the sky. You might as well call me Wheezy. But what bothers me and what can really frustrates me is the structural conditioning of allowing people who are very much racist to be in elevated positions and not to make space to speak up for those who need it. So that's where I am. And that's my experience. And I want to share with you again. If you enjoyed that story, I have others inside of my book, Stumbling Through Adulthood. Behind the Leaf is the name of my nonprofit, and the Flourish Media Conference is the conference that takes place every February here in Miami, Florida, connecting women business owners with angel investors. Thank you so much for your time.